Welcome to the wild world of Sports News Desk. We'll get you out to the bowling alley in a moment for the exciting conclusion of the 2016-17 Prodigy Bowlers Tour season, where Logan F. and Charlie will stage an epic battle for the coveted trophy pin. But first, an update for those of you who have requested a report on how Coach Randy Brown and his team did in this year's Georgia State USBC Open Championship. In singles, Randy fired an uninspired 591 series. At this time, that puts him 370th in a field of 481 in singles, with the players from this weekend yet to be added to that tally. In doubles, Coach Randy and Coach Antonio are currently tied for 58th in a field of 243. Randy fired games of 234 and 224 before cratering with a 166 the final game. Otherwise, the pair might have taken some money out of the prize fund. Thanks a lot, big boy. And in the team competition, the team of Randy Brown, Travis Newberry, Jimmy Johnson, and Antonio Logan currently stand in 131st place in a field numbering 205 at the moment. Here's what Randy Brown had to say after the competition.
We came, we saw, we stunk. Well, I stunk anyway. I was like the team's boat anchor.
Turning to the junior bowling circuit, the Roswell Varsity and Roswell Junior Varsity held their season-ending team stepladder finals on May 13th to decide the league championships. In the junior varsity division, the #1 seeded team appeared virtually unbeatable. In fact, they had only lost one game the entire third of the season. But the #3 seeded team of Trishul, Jonathan, and Jake put on a furious charge. But in the end, the #1 seeds, Alex, Will, Jawan, and Hunter, claimed a narrow 4-pin victory and the championship. For team veterans Alex, Will, and Jawan, it meant back-to-back titles, as they claimed the championship 1 year ago as well. In the varsity division, the team calling itself Storm Nation, consisting of Brandon, Christian, and Logan, won the first game of the stepladder to advance, setting up a rematch of last season's championship pairing against the Special Ks, consisting of Danny, Nolan, and Mikey, who claimed the title last year in an upset. And the defending champions prevailed once again, but not without some controversy. Nolan was seen touching the lane beyond the foul line during the match, but no foul was called. In the end, it didn't matter, as the Special Ks won the game by almost 90 pins. That set up a showdown with the #1 seeded team, the Gutter Gang, consisting of Karina, Kara, and Charlie. It came down to the 10th frame, and Charlie needing a double to pull his team across the finish line. But when his first ball went a little high, leaving a 4-pin, it meant that Danny, Nolan, and Mikey joined the junior varsity winners as back-to-back league champions. And that's our report from the wild world of Sports News Desk. Now let's get you out to Roswell, Georgia, where they're about to decide bragging rights in perpetuity for the 2016-17 Prodigy Bowlers Tour season.
They've been chasing it all year, the coveted trophy pin, a symbol of performance, of commitment, of winning. The pursuit of the coveted trophy pin ends today, as one player will be rewarded for a season of excellence. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches conducted by some of the most active and engaged junior bowlers in our youth bowling program. The mission of Prodigy Bowlers Tour is to celebrate junior bowling while we elevate junior bowlers. This is May 13th, 2017. Season 1, Episode 23, For the Win. We should have known right away the 2016-17 bowling season would be something special. In the very first game of the season, one of our Roswell varsity players, Mikey, began the season with a bang, firing a .299 game right out of the gate. It was the highest single game score ever recorded in Junior League at Brunswick Zone Roswell. The week after that, Logan started with the front 10 en route to a .289. And a week later, Christian started with 10 in a row on his way to a personal best of .288. Since those close calls, Logan fired his first ever 300 game while vacationing in Florida. And Charlie shot a pair of 300s in the stretch of a month. But back on September 17th, 2016, we began a tradition that nobody had any idea would catch on. It was our first ever bowlcast of one of our kids' unofficial after-league challenge matches, and it featured Logan and Charlie. Charlie would make an immediate splash when, in his very first frame on camera, he left the 6-7-10 split and then did this. Oh, but what a shot! But it would be Logan who would go on to win that match. After several more tapings of these junior bowling matches, we coined the name Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and this series took off. Along the way, one of our viewers suggested that the kids should be bowling for something more than merely weekly bragging rights. I agreed, and so I ordered a pin printed with our logo, and the Coveted Trophy Pin became the prize these kids would be vying for each week. After each episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, the winner would sign the pin with the goal in mind that when the season came to an end, the player who had signed it most often and therefore had claimed victory most often would be awarded the pin as a permanent keepsake in commemoration of bragging rights in perpetuity for the 2016-17 bowling season. This is our 23rd episode of the season, and two players are deadlocked at 7 wins apiece. Today, we break that tie and declare a winner for the season. So, let's meet these two perennial winners. The first player to get to 7 wins on the season was Logan. Logan is 13 and finished the league season with a 200 average. His .289 the second week of the season stands as the second highest game bowled in the league this year, and his .753 stands as the high series bowled in the league this year. The second player to get to 7 wins on the season was Charlie. Charlie is 14 and finished the league season with a .218 average, the second highest league average posted by any youth bowler in the state of Georgia this year. Charlie's high series in the league this year was .746, and his high league game was .279. He is a legitimate contender for Georgia State Youth Bowler of the Year. These two young bowlers will be facing off today in a 3-game total pins match to decide who wins the coveted trophy pin for 2016-17. And this is no time for excuses now. This is the real deal. We're down to the final 3 games of the season. This will decide who gets to keep the coveted trophy pin, Charlie or Logan. Charlie will start off. And he leaves a week 10 on his opening ball. This will go just like league. You'll start on the same lane in the first and third game, and you'll start on the opposite lane in the second game. Logan won the toss and had the option. And there's a spare to start for Charlie. And now Logan, who hasn't been on the show in quite a while. Logan dominated the first half of the season on Prodigy. And then he suffered an injury and was sidelined for a while. Had some tournaments to play in. And there's a strike to start. Logan's been bowling pretty well here lately. But those of you who follow us
on YouTube, the Prodigy Bowlers Tour, may have been wondering what happened to Logan. Well, he's just been working on his game. And he's off to a quick start here. Gets another light shaker to go, so there's a double to start the proceedings. Logan gets off to an early 10-pin lead. We're bowling on the house shot today. This is the fourth and final week of the USBC Georgia State Open Championship, so our lane guy's not going to run a sport shot for us. And Charlie comes up a little high, breaks up the split, and leaves a simple spare, the 7-pin. We had hoped this pair would be fresh, but during the league championship step ladders earlier in the day, we had to use this pair, so it's not fresh. It was used as a warm-up pair for the varsity, so these two have actually bowled on this pair a good bit of the morning, so they should know exactly what these lanes are doing. Just fractionally high. Leaves the 9. Some would call that the stone 9, but it was just a little bit high. Easy spare, though. And Charlie takes care of it without a problem. So Logan, working on a double, can extend his lead to 22 if he can get another one to go here. And that one drifts just a little high. He leaves a solid 4. Quite a few of the kids who were bowling in the league championship step ladder earlier in the day are still in the bowling center, but we're not hearing a lot of applause for these two because all those kids are down there practicing. They're bowling on their own pair somewhere. Spare for Logan. Hard to read him sometimes. I got a text from him on Friday. He said, "I'm not coming to lose." So I think maybe he's just got his game face on. Throws him like that, he won't lose. So Charlie still looking for his first strike of the match. Ringing 10. And boy, he's got to be thinking to himself, okay, is it going to be one of those kinds of days? Pound the pocket, nothing goes. I think we've all had that sensation before. Oh, and he compounds the mistake now with a blunder. You'd have to call it a blunder as he whiffs the 10-pin. A spare you would expect him to make almost every time. But now Charlie falls 23 pins behind. This is a 3-game match. Total pins will decide it. There's his first strike of the match. And it's a wall shot. That head pin takes out the 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. One pin took all those other pins out. Some people like to call that the tossed salad strike. Logan with that familiar practice swing before he goes. It's part of his pre-shot routine. Oh, and this one jumps on him. And he is faced now with a 6, 7, 10. Will he go for it, or will he preserve the count? Well, I'm not sure which one he was attempting to do, but he gets 9 out either way. Still has the lead, but it shrinks to 11 pins. And Logan moves over to the left lane. And he makes a nice pass at that one. Right in the pocket, a solid strike. But Charlie now, with a strike up, has a chance to cut the lead to just a single pin. Oh, and you're not going to see a better strike than that one. Solid in the pocket for Charlie. And this match is now down to just a single stick. Oh, and he rips the rack on that one. It looked like he pulled it a little bit, but it stayed in the oil and had plenty on the back end to just send the 5-pin over into the 7 and just tomahawk it out. So with that strike, Charlie takes the lead by 9. And this time, Logan's ball hooks early. He may be facing a little bit of over-under on this pattern. He got that one a little wide of his mark, and it started hooking right away once it got out to those dry boards. And now he is left with the 310 baby split. Needs to convert it to keep this at a 1-mark match. And he gets it. Ever since Logan ditched his plastic ball in favor of throwing one of his strike balls at spares, he's gone back to throwing the straight ball, just coming up the back of the ball. He doesn't put any turn on it when he throws at those right side spares. I love his technique. Oh, what is this? Well, something happened there. And he's saying that the thumb insert actually moved in his downswing. It slipped, causing his hand to come out of the ball prematurely. Well, you can chalk that up as one more reason why I don't use thumb inserts, removable thumbs, interchangeable thumbs, whatever you want to call them, switch grips. I know people swear by them, but I've heard too many horror stories like this. And this proves to be a disastrous frame. He loses 10 pins in count on his first ball, working on a spare. And now he opens, so Charlie goes from a 9-pin lead to a 32-pin lead with 3 strikes working. And he trips out the 2 and extends his lead to 42 pins. What a turn of events. Logan was going along pretty well, staying right with Charlie, and then one bad break. You'd have to call that a freak event, a freak occurrence, when the thumb hole slipped. And now Charlie carries a wall shot, and that's a 5-bagger now. And all of a sudden, Logan, when he got up in the 8th frame, he was just trailing by 9. And now, in just a couple of frames, the lead is 52. Good heavens. What a terrible break. And you can see on his face, he is not a happy camper. Wow. I've seen some crazy things in this sport, but that was a terrible break. And look at this. He gets that ball just a little bit wide, and it hooks early. That's a different ball than the one that hooked early a little while ago. But now he's faced with the big 4, and the pin setter is sweeping it. Okay. So we're going to get this reset if we can. Most of the year what we've done is just let these incidents pass and just shoot at what's left. But since this is the last day of Prodigy Bowlers Tour's 2016-17 season, and because the USBC Georgia State Tournament is not taking up all that many lanes, I don't think the lane guy is all that busy. Let's see if we can't get him to reset the spare for us. As if Logan needed one more thing to weigh on him. You can see in his body language right there, he is frustrated and feeling a bit like this is out of his control. Well, while we wait, I'll just mention that although this is our last Prodigy Bowlers Tour episode of the 2016-17 bowling season, that doesn't mean we're going away. We may have a somewhat uneven and irregular schedule over the summer, but we do intend to shoot and post episodes of Prodigy over the summer. They may take on a slightly different look. I'm thinking about taking the show on the road. I'd like to bring it around to other bowling centers in the Atlanta metro area and expose some other people to what we do here on Prodigy. Maybe pick up a few new fans of the show along the way. A lot of the kids around the Atlanta area already are familiar with Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We posted in a couple of Facebook groups that local youth bowlers are known to frequent. All right, well, nothing like sitting around waiting just so that you can make an open, especially when it's in the 10th frame. My goodness. Well, that's just a very, very unfortunate turn of events, starting with that removable thumb slipping in his downswing on his first ball in the 8th. That sort of turned the tide in this game. But to Charlie's credit, you have to say he took advantage of it. Put a 5-bagger on him right there in the middle of the match. Charlie leaves the 6-10 here, so he will go cross lane, hard and straight at it. You hear that thumpity thump. It's rolling over the thumb hole. Charlie with a very similar release to the one that Logan uses shooting at those right side spares. Tries to get that ball rolling end over end so that it doesn't hook. Strike for 224. And he ends the game the way he started, with a soft 10. And that's a 223. So Charlie will take a 63-pin lead into the second game. It's a 3-game match. Total pins will decide it for the coveted trophy pin. Probably my favorite part of Prodigy this year has been letting you see some of our younger bowlers. The first time we had several of our younger kids on the show was on the Thanksgiving Turkey Shootout, where we paired members of our junior varsity league with varsity players in an alternate shot doubles event. There you met Will, Trishel, once again, he's right there in the pocket. Rudra. Here's little Rudy going for the spare. Will it hook a little? Yes! And Jake. Cross lane at it and gets it. Later, you met Jawan. Needs a strike and a spare, or a spare and a strike. But I think the kid who captured so many of our viewers' hearts was Hunter. There's one right in the pocket. How about all 10? And a little dab will do you. Let's get a look at this reaction. There you go. Here's this kid who's 9 years old. He'd only been bowling about a year and just joined our league at the first of this year. And he didn't care if he was bowling against the other little kids or if he was bowling against the big kids. Heck, if there was a team of PBA players out there, I think Hunter would be out there trying to beat them. And that enthusiasm rubbed off on everyone. Look at this! Hunter would go on to win 4 times on Prodigy this year, the most of any of our junior varsity players. Oh my goodness, look at that ball go into a roll on the back end. And to think that at the beginning of the season, I couldn't quite convince his dad that bowling in a Saturday morning junior league was for him. Not only did Hunter sign the coveted trophy pin 4 times, but his team captured first place in the Roswell Junior Varsity. Next season, I definitely want to add an additional episode or 2 featuring only the kids from our JV squad. So, after one game, Charlie takes a 63-pin lead on the strength of a 223-160 win in the opening game. But we're just a third of the way through, and Logan has plenty of time to chip away at the lead. Certainly that's how he has to think if he's going to get back in this match. Logan hasn't bowled badly. He had the ball slip off his hand once in what has to be described as a freak occurrence, and he made a few loose shots, but there's lots of bowling left in this match, so he can't let his dauber down. He's got to stay focused and look for little cracks in the dam to try and exploit. And for Charlie, he needs to just maintain focus and keep doing what he's doing. If Charlie keeps stringing strikes, Logan will have a hard time catching him. So as we enter game 2 of this 3-game total pins match, Logan will lead off in this second game, trailing by 63. And he gets a wall shot. The head pin goes to the sideboard and kicks out the 4, 5, and 7. But you can see on Logan's face, he is dazed by what happened in that first match. He was right there with Charlie until things went off the rails. But he's got to gather himself and just try to chip away. Charlie drills the pocket with that one. Now what Charlie's got to do is just be careful and not give Logan the opening that he needs. Logan's perfectly capable of bowling well enough to get back in this. What Charlie has to do is guard against an off game that would give Logan that opening. Half pocket, 5-pin nearly gets the 7. He got it to wiggle, but the 5-pin goes in front of the 7 and doesn't quite get it out. We call that the swishin' 7. Charlie calls it a maddening leave. Look out. All right. He gets the 7 to go. Looks like Logan is going with a tropical breeze, I believe. And that one comes up just a little light, and he doesn't get the wall shot. This time the head pin goes to the sideboard and knocks out the 4 and the 5, but the 7 remains. And I'm not sure if I love this ball choice. But I sure do like his technique shooting spares. I'm glad he's gone back to this method of just throwing a straight ball. He doesn't need a spare ball when he throws it this straight. Both of these two youngsters are going to be at Junior Gold this summer, and with the ball limit they impose on you, it makes sense to get used to throwing straight at spares with your strike ball. Opens up one more option in your arsenal as Logan pounds the pocket in the 3rd frame, and that's what he's looking for, but he needs a string of them to get back in this. That's a nice smooth reaction. It looked like Charlie actually got that thing out a little wide, but he's not getting the overreaction that Logan was earlier. That ball just transitions smoothly off the dry. And that's a good look. And he comes in the half pocket and gets that light shaker to go. Well, this is what Logan did not need to see. Charlie stringing strikes. So now the lead that was 63 at the beginning of the game has extended to 73. Logan's got to match him strike for strike just to avoid losing ground. There's a good one. We want to read Logan's body language through this match. If he starts seeming like he's tuning out, he's going to be in trouble. He didn't get that one out to the dry, so it just hydroplaned through the oil on the house shot. And when you're throwing a weak ball like the tropical breeze, it is not going to finish. You've got to find dry boards when you're throwing that equipment. If he wants to smooth out the over-under that he was getting earlier, the thing to do is go with a solid ball and move in. Move left with your feet and throw it out to the dry. The solid ball will smooth out the angularity. And Charlie is doing exactly what he was doing last game, stringing strikes. Logan does not want to see that. And there's another one. Charlie is just locked in. Wow. This is going to make it very difficult on Logan. Now the lead is 84. There's that shaker. That tossed salad strike. That head pin comes in light, and it does all the damage on the left side of the racket. Goes to the sideboard, takes out the 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. He pulled this one, but he pulled it enough this time that it goes high flush as it sets in the pocket. That's what he wanted to see earlier when he left that 5 pin. But it didn't finish quite high enough in the pocket. Charlie working on 4 in a row. This one comes up light, and he leaves a choppable spare. This is what I was talking about with Logan needing to wait for little cracks in the dam. I don't like the way Charlie shoots at this from the right side of the lane. Opens up a bigger opportunity to chop that 2 off the 5, but he converts it this time. I'd much rather see him shoot the 2, 4, 5 down the left side of the lane. Now, if you got the 8 back in the back, then it's okay, because you want it to hook into that to carry out the back pin. But when you just got the 2, 4, 5, you reduce your chop odds if you play it down the left side. Another soft 10. Except for that 2, 4, 5, Charlie has been right in the pocket all game long. You just keep the ball in play like that, and when you have a big lead like he does, puts all the pressure on your opponent. They got to come get you. But now Logan's got a double working. This is what he needs to do right now. He can cut it to 60 and then cut it to 50 if he can get 2 strikes while it's his turn right now. But he's got to carry strikes and not leave ringing 10s. Goodness gracious. Well, you can't throw it much better. I won't call it unlucky because there are reasons why you leave the 10 pin, but you really can't throw it much better than he did. He covers the 10. He's bowled a good game. But he's only got 5 strikes and 3 9 spares. That's pretty tidy, but he needs those strikes to come in bunches. Pulled. And he pays the maximum penalty. Wow. Four, 6, 7. He'll just go for 2. And and gets one. I suppose when you're down this much, the extra pin in count is fairly inconsequential, but you never know. Ooh. And now Logan, sitting at the table back here, shakes his head when he sees Charlie with the 210. He's saying to himself, man, if I could have just not left the wide open split, got a mark, could have gained a little ground on Charlie here. He's figuring Charlie's likely to have an open. Oh, but not so fast. Not an open. And let's take another look at this. He'll get the ball left of the 2. It goes to the wall first and slaps out the 10 from behind. How about that? I think Logan pretty much knows when things like that go on, it's just maybe Charlie's day. High flush for his first ball in the 10th. One bad shot this game by Logan. Just one. Charlie comes up light, leaves the 2-8. Now this spare, you want to hook the ball into this, so that the ball can be driving through, and you catch the right side of the 2, the ball will hook through it and carry out the 8. Now the best laid plans. He gets it a little left of target, but it's just a fill ball. He finishes with a 223. That's more than Logan can get, so Logan's going to lose ground this game. That's not what he needed. Solid strike. Gosh, he really hasn't bowled that badly. Once you see his reaction to that one, it's like, okay, well, every once in a while it goes your way, but not often enough today. And again, he can't seem to get more than a couple in a row. In this case, he can't even put a double on the board to cut the lead just a little. So he too leaves the 2-8. And misses them both. I'm not sure what that was about. I don't know if he was testing out a different line or if that one just got away from him, but the lead has grown to 85. Charlie in a commanding position. Even though the competition on Prodigy Bowlers Tour is, as we say, unofficial, informal, and impromptu, make no mistake, the kids who come to bowl on Prodigy play to win. And there's been some fierce competition. Uh-oh. Oh, man, oh, man. Early in the season, Logan and Charlie staged 2 of their earliest battles. Each one a 2-game match for total pins, and both times it came down to a single pin. Charles needs a strike to win, 9 to tie, 8's a loser. Logan can't watch. And he blows the rack. But they weren't the only ones. Some rising stars emerged on Prodigy, including Kara. And she puts that one right in the pocket. Brandon,
Brandon's on a roll. If he can get another strike here, he may run away and hide. Look at here.
Nolan,
But Nolan has not stayed after league and bowled in these competitions with these kids so far, so this is a pretty big deal to him. There's a winner. But I'll tell you what, he couldn't throw it any better. As he goes to his knees.
Lamar,
And this for a double to take the lead. And that's how you do it.
Christian,
Needs a mark to win. Oh, look out! How about that?
and many others. As word spread about Prodigy Bowlers Tour, kids from neighboring bowling centers began showing up to bowl with us in hopes of surviving the qualifying round so they could make the show.
And that's about as simple as it gets.
In fact, some kids traveled all the way across the state just to bowl with us.
Jasmine is one of the top U12 girls in the state.
And some made quite a lasting impression. Who can forget the Battle of the Network Logans when Little Logan F battled Big Logan?
He must strike here or Little Logan wins. It's a little high. 4-pin.
What about Bryant? This promising young left-hander took Charlie to the brink, opening up a 52-pin lead after just 5 frames before Charlie willed himself to victory in a thrilling come-from-behind finish.
He just carries himself like, I got this. And I'd say he does if he can throw it like that.
Squish made it to the #1 seed in one of our shows, and though he didn't win, he certainly made a lot of friends at Brunswick's own Roswell.
And he gets another blower to go, so Jesse is still on his game.
And while Joshua never survived the qualifier to make our show, he found his own unique way to get some airtime on Prodigy when we spotted him on an adjacent lane bowling in the 10th frame with a chance for 290.
Here's his first ball in the 10th, working on a possible 290 on Paris. Oh my God! Still with a 290 in the wood. This kid's upside is through the roof. One more for 290. Yeah, but can he get one more for the Vera Papa 300?
Come on, throw one more. Show us you could. One more for a Vera Papa 300 on Paris. For $1 million.
Prodigy $1 million payouts are calculated based on a payout of 1 penny per year for 100 million years. Good luck collecting.
But there's only one bowler not from Brunswick's own Roswell who earned the right to put his name on the coveted trophy pin. That happened when we took the show on the road to Brunswick's own Austell. Zion was the first, and so far the only, non-Brunswick's own Roswell bowler to win on Prodigy Bowlers Tour and to sign the coveted trophy pin.
Zion and a proud mom, I take it. Yes.
It's been an awesome season, but no one made it more rewarding than you, our viewers. Your kind words posted to our YouTube channel and all your encouragement has inspired our bowlers and me to keep Prodigy growing. And you can rest assured that while the summer months may be a little uneven in how often we do the show, we hope to take the show on the road so we can broaden our audience and let you see some more of the awesome junior bowlers here in the Atlanta area. Plus, I have every intention of bringing Prodigy Bowlers Tour back again when the fall bowling season starts up. We're not going anywhere.
Well, Logan bounced back and bowled a much better second game than his first, but he still lost ground. And now the problem is, if Charlie continues at this pace and bowls another 223, Logan's going to need to shoot 309 to beat him. Good luck with that. But you never know. Logan is perfectly capable of a big, big game. The question is, can he beat Charlie by 85? That's a big ask. But the games must go on, so let's see what happens. I think it was Chris Berman who used to say on ESPN, that's why they play the games. So, you never know. Charlie might have a bad game in him. Haven't seen him throw one in a while, but you never know. He starts with a can opener in this third game. And Logan's just got to be thinking, strikes. That's all I want to see are strikes. Not ringing tens. Just been that kind of a day. Logan has not bowled badly. He just had that terrible turn of events in the first game that just completely turned this match on its head. And he hasn't been able to get a string of strikes ever since. A spare to open this third game. And now he's thinking, okay, if I go sheet from here for 290, all Charlie needs is a 206 to beat me. That's well under his league average. So it's a little far-fetched, but you never know. You got to bowl the game anyway. Waiting on a 180, but as you saw, the lane guy walk down the little track on the right. This shouldn't take very long to fix. And while we wait, I just want to take a moment and thank our viewers who have been watching Prodigy Bowlers Tour all season. I can tell you that when we first started putting these matches up on YouTube back in September, never in my wildest imagination could I have figured that these little matches would find an audience of loyal viewers, but you guys are just awesome. There's one high flush. That had to strike. Logan looks pretty dejected, but he's got to keep his head in it, at least until he's mathematically out of it. I've seen some pretty strange things happen in this sport. Oh, that was nearly disaster. Through the nose, and Charlie trips it. Watch the 2-pin. That's the third pin from the left. It goes to the wall and slices between the 4 and 7 and does all the damage. When you can go high and trip out the 4 and the 7, man, you've got all the shots going your way. Charlie either slipped at the line or stuck a little bit. You saw him look down at his feet. He wasn't happy with the way he landed up there. Leaves a simple spare, the 2-pin. Okay. Not sure what happened there, but it's nice to have a 90-pin lead when you make mistakes like that. All right, Logan needs more strikes. Not more 10 pins. And you can see as he turns his hand up, wondering, what do I have to do to get a double or a turkey?
I think one of the things he might want to think about is go to a different ball. I don't think this is the ball he should be using. But it really doesn't matter when you whiff single pin spares. So both of these players missing easy spares in the third frame at a time when Logan needs to be capitalizing on Charlie's few mistakes. And there's the difference in the match right there. Logan goes high, leaves a 4-pin. Charlie goes high, trips out the 4 and 7. And usually when a ball has a shallower entry angle, that's when you see the trip 4. Well, Logan had that shallower entry angle, but he left the 4. Funny game. Although I don't think Logan is feeling much like laughing right now. And I understand it. He came in ready to bowl well. And it just hasn't worked out for him. Meanwhile, Charlie's been like a buzzsaw. He's just not given Logan any openings to speak of. There's a strike. When you've got a big lead, all you really want to do is just keep the heat on. Don't make any major mistakes. I mean, he did miss the 2-pin a little while ago, but he was sitting on a 90-some-odd pin lead at the time, so didn't really do any damage. That one was a little wide of the mark and had a long way to travel to get back. But now what's interesting is that when Charlie sends it wide, the ball is not overreacting and overhooking. When Logan sends it wide, it seems to want to jump early and hook through the nose. And that is a matchup problem. Well, Logan's running out of frames now that it will be mathematically possible for him to catch Charlie. I know we're talking in theoreticals here. Even if Logan were to strike out, let's see, 68, 98, 20, 50, 80, he could still shoot 248. Charlie would have to end up with something in the, what, 140s? 130s? I don't see that happening. There's a good strike by Logan. Well, you have to feel for the young man. He dominated the season in the first half of the season anyway. Opened up a huge lead in wins on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. There's an example of how the ball he is throwing is just not the right ball for this lane condition. He pulled it a little bit in the oil and it just hydroplaned and never reacted on the back end. That tropical breeze needs dry boards to do its work. Well, Charlie's going to test out the approach now after having some issues with it a little while ago. Another ring and 10. Well, we'll tell our fans that we do expect to do some Prodigy Bowlers Tour episodes over the summer. Our schedule will be a little bit irregular. Summer leagues are usually a little bit irregular. A lot of our kids like Logan, they don't usually even bowl in the summer, so not sure exactly who we're going to have bowling. But what I'd like to do is take the show on the road over the summer. Now, I know those of you outside the Atlanta area are thinking, yes, come see us. Well, that's not going to happen, but great strike by Charlie there. If you are in the Atlanta metro area and you bowl Junior League, have your youth director get in touch with me through my website at brownswick.com. That's just like Brunswick, except my last name is Brown. So it's BROWNSWICK.com. Randy@brownswick.com is an email address, or you can just go right through the website. There's a contact us form, and just send us a request, and we'll see if we can't bring the show to your home center. I'd love to have some new people on the show and expose the show to some new fans, grow the fan base, so it's a win-win for everybody. If we can make it happen, I'd love to do it. Well, we're getting down to it now. I'm not sure. Let's see. I think that strike may wrap it up. Yep. That puts it mathematically out of reach. So Charlie is our winner of the coveted trophy pin for 2016-17. And just as Logan dominated the first half of the season, Charlie lit it up in the second half. Wow, look at that. He put on a furious charge. Let's take a look at this messenger he just got. Watch the head pin. That's the one in the front. It'll go to the left side board, and here it comes. See ya, 10-pin. Logan with a change of balls. And he gets the wall shot to go. Let's take another look at the wall shot. It's interesting in its own way. Watch the head pin again. It'll go to the wall, take out the 4, which takes out the 5, and the head pin also takes out the 7. Dick Weber made a career of wall shot strikes. And there's a can opener for Logan, and he's got to be thinking, where were these strikes a while ago? And unfortunately, they may have been in his bag, because he wasn't throwing this ball through most of the match. There's another good one. Well, I'm glad to see him show off what he can do here at the end, because Logan's a much better bowler than what he showed today. But I think most of our fans who have watched Prodigy are well aware of that. He finishes with a 6-bagger. And we'll have to check the score sheet. I'm not sure he had 6 strikes. Oh, yeah, he had more than 6 strikes the first couple of games, but I'm sure he doesn't feel like he did. Charlie will go through the motions of wrapping things up here. Soft 10 in the 10th. And with that, he is denied his 223 triplicate. Covers the 10. And now he will throw one more ball, and we will call it a season. $10 back for 215. And that's what it is. So Charlie will sign the coveted trophy pin one more time when we return. The actual presentation will be next week at the League Awards ceremony.
Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit ProdigyBowlersTour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling. You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brownswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to ProdigyBowlersTour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's ProdigyBowlersTour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to ProdigyBowlersTour.com. That's ProdigyBowlersTour.com.
Well, I think we all would have liked to have seen the final showdown for the coveted trophy pin come down to the final frame or the final ball. But sports have a way of writing their own scripts, and they're not always a photo finish. What we witnessed today is one player, Charlie, who has been bowling really well of late, bowl well enough to dominate his opponent, while Logan had his confidence shaken early when that thumb insert slipped and he just never could get a big string of strikes going to begin to close the gap. But you know what? I think when Logan looks back on this season, he'll realize he's made huge strides forward this year. Both of these players have. Logan's been chasing Charlie for a few years, and while the final results on this day didn't show it, the gap between them is not as great as it was a year ago. Both of these young men are going to be fantastic bowlers when they get older. They're phenomenal youth bowlers now, among the best in the state and maybe the country. They were certainly the two best bowlers on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. But on the final day of the season, one player had to claim bragging rights in perpetuity for the 2016-17 bowling season. And that player is Charlie. He gets to sign the coveted trophy pin one more time. And next week at our League Awards ceremony, he'll be presented with the coveted trophy pin as a permanent reminder of his stellar performance this year on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Congratulations to Charlie. He's the winner of the coveted trophy pin.
Done. You bowled fantastic. I thought you were going to get your 223 triplicate.
That's what I was trying to. I was looking at that. I saw the first two games were 223. I'm like, let me see if I can do it. But it's got kind of tacky at the lanes, got kind of hot, and then just messed up a couple frames. Had one open, and that was at 10 pins, so that kind of cost me a little bit. So.
Well, this should maybe soothe some of the wounds from losing the league championship earlier.
Yeah, that kind of hurt. That 4-pin kind of hurt a little bit. So it was good though.
Congratulations.
Thank you.